Hi everyone, my name is Gizel and this is my first video. This is my labor and delivery story, so let's just get right into it. So my due date was November 11th, which was a Friday, and I went to the hospital that Tuesday because I had contractions, but then they spread it out, so they sent me home, and then I was 2 centimeters dilated, and that was it. And then after they sent me home, my doctor was right next to the hospital. So I went to my doctor and he did a quick ultrasound to see if my water broke, because I thought it broke, but in reality I kind of just peed myself. And it didn't break. And he was like, you're 4 centimeters, I can stretch you to 5. Well, that didn't happen. And then he sent me home and he's like, just be aware if you have any pains, come back to the hospital and then we'll see, whatever. So I live 30 minutes from my hospital, and my boyfriend lives 2 minutes from my hospital. So I ended up staying with him those few days before I did have her, just so that if at any time I can just go to the hospital and it was right there. And we had the diaper bag in my hospital bag and his bag in the car already, just in case. So Wednesday I was just walking a lot. I spent 2 hours walking, and I was drinking 2 cans of pineapple juice to dilate more, and nothing was working. Nothing. And I was just sleeping. I had no pains. Nothing was working. So before I left, that Tuesday when I went to my doctor, my nurse that works with my mom works there. That's how I got my doctor. She always checked me and whatever, and my blood pressure, and she was like, this is your first kid. She's like, you're young, have sex so you can dilate so you don't have to be induced. And she's like, don't tell your mom I said that. So I was like, okay. So that Wednesday night I did that, and right away I had contractions within 10 minutes. But I was just brushing them off because I was like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital, and then they send me home and whatever. So I was having contractions from 11:45 till 6 in the morning. And I just remember I just kept waking up every couple hours because it was hurting. And I didn't want to wake him up because he would have been like, go back to sleep. It's nothing. And 6 in the morning came around, and I texted my mom, and I was like, I'm having contractions. They're a couple minutes apart. They hurt, but I could maintain it. The pain wasn't that bad. And then I woke him up. It was 6 something, and I woke him up, and I was like, okay, it's time. It's time. So then we left right away. We went to the hospital. And then when you get there, you go to the delivery floor, you have to call to get inside the doors. So I was like, I'm having contractions, so they let me in, and then you have to sign in and everything. And then I went to the pre-delivery room, and it was just a bunch of beds with curtains and whatever, and they're like, okay, change it to this, take off everything. So I did that. And then they put 2 belts around me, one for myself to see how bad the contractions were, and then one for her to hear her heartbeat to see if she was okay. And then I just remember I was just laying down, and he was next to me, and it was getting painful. It was hurting. And I remember the whole time I had a contraction, I would hold his hand, but I would only hold one of his hands. And it would just hurt, and they were like, okay, your contractions are really close, you're still 5 centimeters dilated, whatever. And they're like, we're gonna admit you. So they admitted me, and I got my room, and it was a really nice, huge room, whatever. And so my mom works in the building next door. You could literally you could walk to my hospital. And she was at work, and they were giving her a hard time, so she wasn't there. when I got admitted. So I got admitted at like 9 in the morning, and then I had a nurse and I had a medical student there as well. And she was just asking me questions about my pregnancy, if there was any complications, whatever. And the only complication I had was I had low iron, but that was about it. And she took my blood, and then I had an IV too. And I feel like the IV hurt more than anything else. Like, that hurt. And then, yeah, so I got my IV and everything, and in my head, I didn't know if I was going to get the epidural or not. I wanted to get it, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. So me and Tony, which is my boyfriend, we had a code word. So the code word was coconuts. And if I said coconuts, it was meaning that, okay, like, this is serious. I need my epidural. Like, I don't care what I said. If I said coconuts, that was the end of it. So I didn't say it. And then before, like, I asked about the epidural. I was like, okay, well, how does it work, whatever. And she explained it to me, and then I had to sign a bunch of, like, consent papers and everything just in case something happened to me. She told me that the anesthesiologist had 2 C-sections before me if I wanted the epidural. So it was going to take an hour and a half. And I was like, oh, great. Then my water didn't break, so they had to induce me. So they stuck something up there, and my water just broke, and it was like the most awkwardest feeling ever. It was just like water just kept coming and coming, and then when you thought it was done, more came. And they had like these like they reminded me of like doggy pads under you for that. And then after they induced me, they gave me medication. I forgot what it was called, just to speed up the whole process of my contractions and everything. And then I felt that my contractions got so bad, like I couldn't even, I just remember I was texting my mom and I was like, oh my god, this hurts so bad. And she was like, if you need to get the epidural, get it. I got it. Get it if you need to, but only if you think you got it. I was like, okay. So I thought I had it. I didn't have it. His mom came and she was there. Her and my mom were there during the birth. So then it got bad. Like, his mom was there and she was like asking me if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine, but I was kind of in like a don't talk to me, don't touch me like mood. And then we were just so tired. I just remember I was so exhausted and I felt so weak. And he was sitting by me the whole time and he was like holding my hand. So I finally, before I asked for the epidural, I asked her if they do the whole like bathtub where the contractions, you can't really feel it, whatever. And she gave me attitude and she was like, you picked the wrong hospital. And I was like, okay, my bad for asking. And then I asked for the epidural, and then he came in within like 30 minutes or something, and that part was scary. I just remember I was scared the whole time, just because like I'm afraid of like needles and stuff. And then I remember my body was like shaking. He was like, okay, curl your back, hold on to him, don't move. I was like, okay, I won't move. And he put it in, and we were good to go, and I didn't feel anything until the end. And then I felt pressure, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I'm gonna poop. I feel like I have to poop. And they were like, no, the baby's coming. And I was like, no, I'm gonna poop. And they're like, no, the baby's coming. She's like, so let me check you. She's like, okay, you're 9 centimeters dilated. That was at like 12-ish. So then I texted my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm 9 centimeters dilated. And she's like, oh my god. She's like, okay, I'm coming now. So she came, and then the pressure just got worse and worse. And I was like, I have to poop. And she's like, okay. And I like clicked the button and I was like, the nurse, I'm gonna have to poop. So she came and everything. And then she checked me again and she's like, okay, you're 9.5 centimeters dilated. She's like, so you're gonna have this baby soon. when she said that, I was not ready. Tony was not ready. Our life was about to change forever, and we were not ready. And we're literally 2 minutes after she said that, my mom came. She was like, okay, I'll come back, whatever, and then we're gonna start practice pushing. And I was like, okay. She came back within 10 minutes, and I started practice pushing. She'd have your legs to your boobs. Yeah. And then you'd have to hold on and start pushing. And she's like, you're gonna push for 10 seconds, 3 sets. And I was like, okay. And then I did that, and I couldn't really feel anything. I just felt pressure, that's it. And then she was like, okay, let's call your doctor. And I was like, great, because my doctor was supposed to be somewhere else. When I first got admitted, my doctor went to go have a C-section at a different hospital. So my doctor came, and I thought he was going to take forever, but he didn't. He was like, okay, let's have this baby. And I was like, oh shit, we're about to have this baby. So then they put the whole, my bed up or whatever. They put the lights on. It was scary. And then my mom and his mom were on the side, and I was like, please just don't look. We did a couple pushes, and they were like, push when you have a contraction. I just remember there was a time I pushed when I didn't have a contraction, just because I just wanted to get this over with. And I pushed, I feel like 3 minutes. I pushed for like 3 minutes. It was really fast. And they're like, okay. I just remember they were just like, oh, this is going to be awkward if I get emotional. They were just like, okay, there's her head. And then I was like, okay. Or I just remember I was just like looking. I don't even remember. I just remember they were like, she has so much hair. And I like looked down, and like her head was right there. And then I didn't have to push anymore. They just like grabbed her, and she was just crying and screaming. And so look at this.
Go for it, girl.
Breath in.
Come on.
And push. Come on.
Push, push. Come on, harder. Here comes baby. Come on. There you go. Stop pushing. Your head's up. Good job. I don't see a ball anymore.
Oop, in the bowl.
There we go. Now push. Just breathe. Almost done. We're going to put baby right up there on your stomach, okay?
Look down. Happy birthday. 14-12.
Got a lot of fluid in there. Goobers. All right, here she is. It's all yours.
Oh.
I had her. She was born at, okay, they said in the military time it was either 214 or 220.
Yes, 220.
And this pretty little girl was born, and she was 7 pounds 11 ounces and 21 inches. Her legs were so long, and you can tell like her legs were mine and her nose was his, like you could just completely tell. And I stayed in the hospital for 2 days just to be sure, because I had lots of blood loss. I had a first-degree stitches, or no, not first degree, third-degree stitches, and I was just losing a lot of blood, and plus like my iron was low, so it was just better for me to stay there. And we ended up going home 2 days later, and this pretty little girl, she is going to be hey, she's gonna be 4 months next Friday. And yeah, say hi, mama. Say hi, baby. Hey. Yeah, so that was my labor and delivery story. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos. I know this one took long, but yeah, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.